about some jazz the last couple weeks. We talked about blues and we talked about swing. Today, we're going to move a little bit further into jazz and talk about improvisation. And we're going to improvise today on unpitched percussion. What are some unpitched percussion instruments that you guys know? Do you see some clues in my office here? You might see a few. Unpitched percussion is anything that fits in the percussion family that doesn't have a pitch, meaning you can't sing what it plays. If we think about a xylophone has pitches that we can sing. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? But a drum doesn't have pitches. It's one sound. You can, of course, make different sounds on the drum, but it doesn't have pitches. So I raided my 5-year-old's music box. I'm sure you're not surprised that he has quite a stash, but he does. And I brought out what I could find of his that is unpitched percussion to show you and remind you today about unpitched percussion. So we have a tambourine. These are rhythm sticks from school. You probably recognize them. I already showed you our little drum. He's got some maracas. This one you might not have seen. This was new at school this year. This is called a shekere, and it's an African instrument. It's kind of like a shaker. The beads hit against the inside and make a good, cool sound. Oh, probably not gonna stay there. Oh, we better put that one away. We got a clapper, some jingle bells. We got a tone block. Some cymbals. A guitarro, of course. This is the one from school, although my son does have a couple. And we got a triangle. All unpitched percussion. You should have something to play on with you today. Hopefully you were able to find something that you can shake, something that you can scrape, and something that you can strike. Those three things are what make an instrument a percussion instrument, as opposed to our other families that don't have any of those qualities. So even though I've got all this stuff with me, I went searching through my house too to find some stuff that wasn't already an instrument that I could play with today. So let me show you what I found. Some of you might have saw this last time. This is my egg shaker. My kids and I made some out of Easter eggs. It just has rice in it. But you could find anything. You could put popcorn kernels in a bottle. You could put rice in a bottle or a jar, whatever you can find that you can shake. I pulled out a bucket to tap. Buckets work really well when you don't have drums. The scrape one was the hardest to find. And here's what I came up with. It's a little notebook with a spiral bound, and I grabbed a pen and you just scrape along the spiral. Last week we sang Bunny Hop, and that's the song we're going to use today to work on some improvisation. But before we get into improvisation, let's remind ourselves how our song went. Can you pick one of your 3 instruments to play with me? I'm going to play on my drum, my bucket, because I feel like it's the easiest one to do that swing pattern on we've been working on. And we're going to play that as we sing Bunny Hop. And if you don't remember, this is how our swing rhythm went. Ta, dee, dee, ta, 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 dee, dee, ta, 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 dee, dee, ta, 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 dee, dee, ta, ta. If you recall, we also talked about having 2 different sounds on our drum. So if you have a bucket or something similar, try doing your 1 and your 3 in the middle and your 2 and your 4 on the edge, or you could do a top and a side. They're different sounds. Ta, dee, dee, ta, 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 dee, dee, you can come up with to get two different sounds. So let's do it. Let's play that swing rhythm on whatever instrument you're using, and let's sing Bunny Hop. Whoops, gotta start it over first. You can add a cool ending. Good job remembering how that swing rhythm goes. Let's get into improvisation a little bit. So what does improvisation mean? Improvisation basically means you use what you have and what you know and then make it up. Improvisation isn't something written out that you have to read. It's something that you come up with different every time that you do it. Improvisation doesn't mean just play as loud and as fast as you can. We still want whatever we do to try and fit whatever song we're improvising with. So we don't want to just make noise. That's kind of silly, huh? We want it to fit. It doesn't have to be simple, but sometimes simple works a little better as you learn, because improvisation, just like everything else, takes a lot of practice and a lot of understanding of the song that you're putting it with. So it could be super simple. I was just doing a simple rhythm and I was changing where I was playing on my drum. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a jazz improvisation on drums. And I hope you notice as you're watching how the player is using all of the drums he has around him and several cymbals. If you notice, he's using a hi-hat, and a hi-hat's the cymbal that's going to be going up and down, and he plays it with his feet actually. And that hi-hat is playing on the 2 and 4 through the entire thing. It's helping him keep track of his beat, but it's also emphasizing the beats that are most important in jazz. Take a look. Welcome back. I sure hope you enjoyed the video. It was kind of hard to find a really cool improvisation on unpitched percussion. Usually in jazz, the improvisation is done by your pitched instruments. In a jazz band, that would be your saxophones or your trombones and trumpets, or maybe even your guitars. The drummer does improvise sometimes, but it's not what most of us are used to hearing. So now it's our turn. So as I said, improvisation doesn't mean play as loud and as fast as you can. We want it to fit. So we're going to stick our improvisation into Bunny Hop. So I'm going to play on my phone again. Oops! A different accompaniment. What does accompaniment mean? It's the thing that happens under the melody, right? So I'm going to play a different accompaniment than what you've heard. So this is a second part to Bunny Hop that we haven't heard yet, and this is the improvisation part. So all you're going to hear is chords underneath, and we're going to improvise on top of it. you make with your instrument? If you were watching while you were doing it, I did some stuff on the sides of my bucket, I did some stuff on top, I did some fists, I did some knocking, I did some nail tapping. You can make lots of different sounds, especially with something like a drum, to make your improvisations a little more interesting, so it's not the same sound over and over and over and over again. So unlike the video, and unlike what we just did, improvisation doesn't usually just appear on its own. It's usually in the middle of a song. So we're going to try and stick it all together. So we're going to sing the bunny hop part while we're playing our swing rhythm. Then it's going to cut right into our improvisation, and then it's going to repeat back and sing one more time. I'm going to add our shaker into my improvisation. Maybe you want to add something too. Let's try it out. We love to hop around when we do the bunny hop. Hop bunny, we love to jump on animals. We never want to stop. Hop bunny, let's go and play the bunny hop. Hop, hop, improvise. Sing. Back to that swing rhythm. We love to hop around when we do the bunny hop. Hop bunny, we love to jump on animals. We never want to stop. Hop bunny, let's go and play the bunny hop. I missed the hop hop. Oh well. Thanks so much for joining me today. On our choice board page, I put 2 links at the bottom if you're interested in listening to a little bit more. There are 2 videos from the group Postmodern Jukebox, and they have a video that talks about blues, singing, and improvisation. If you want to learn a little bit more about either of those, feel free to check them out. I'm also going to put a link on there to something called Does It Swing? And Does It Swing is a 3-part series on YouTube about jazz history, and they also have quite a bit in there about improvisation. If you're interested in that, go ahead and check it out. The link is for the first part. If you're interested in the other 2 parts, they'll be the right next ones on YouTube. One of the coolest parts in that is a trombone player who does an improvisation using a plunger mute, which, just like it sounds, looks just like a plunger you would use in your toilet. But it's super cool if you want to check that part out. Lastly, before we go, your teachers probably told you that the specials team added a form to our choice boards where you can click and let us know what kind of things you did, answer a few questions, so that we can give you credit for the work that you are doing at home. See you guys next week. Have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye.